very competitive ball games in the NCAA on active.
Valentino up ahead to Carlo Lastimosa.
3, and he knocks it down!
What a move by Nate Matute. Matute got it again.
And he puts it in! And the foul! Quetzal is running wild! The Atas feeling the insanity!
Lyceum, they're here to compete. Sakta naman si Josan Dimes. Wow, what a move. Kevin Alas getting it in.
Lebron feeling it right now.
Pastor Amer with a huge shot!
Go high to Alvin Abueva.
Lebron and JRU, both teams who made the trip to the Final Four last year, will be jockeying for position to make sure that they get in this year's Final Four. As round 1 draws to a close, every game gets bigger and bigger as the stakes get higher and higher. Ang ating match at hand, the JRU Heavy Bombers versus the Letran Knights. We are here at the San Juan Arena at a very exciting ating matchup. Today, we have Nate Matute hoping to come back from a very, very disappointing game against the San Beda Red Lions. He hopes to get his shot online. Samantalang si Kevin Alas, his team is riding high on a 3-game winning streak and he wants his team to continue winning. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. This is Zelly Mumar kasama si Coach Pinky Babis. We are back. The NCAA is back after a 1-week layoff. I hope that you guys are dry and safe. Coach, this game very important. These two teams are on the upper part of our standings. Battle for a good positioning para makapasok sa Final Four.
Well, good day NCAA fans. Magandang araw Pilipinas. Good day LA. Medyo nangingilabot pa ako, tsaka medyo mabilis yung tibok ng puso ko. Bakit naman hindi? Ngayon ko lang makakasama itong kupunan ng Letran after so many years. At hindi lang yan, yung mahabang rivalry na itong JRU tsaka Letran, nag-umpisa yan noong 1999. At napanood ko yung laro na yon, championship, Letran na JRU, napanalunan ng Letran yan. Pero nung panahon na yon, hindi ako dito nakaupo. Doon ako nakaupo sa bench ng Letran. Kaya magandang laban ito. Standing 6-2 against 4-3. But at this point, hindi lang dahil ang history natin, puro marami na tayong upset, wala na sa standing. Every game is a different game, as I always say. Letran JRU, lalo na sigurado pukpukan ito.
Yeah, and when you talk about Letran and JRU, two names come to mind. They're two star players para sa Letran. We have to talk about Kevin Alas, Coach.
Definitely, it's no secret. The chances of Letran and JRU of winning relies heavily on their main men. Para sa Letran, Kevin Alas. Pag magandang nilaro ni Kevin Alas, malamang na mananalo itong Letran. On the other hand, JRU, pag maganda naman ang numbers ni Nate Matute, lamang na manalo rin sila.
And that was so evident against their game against San Beda when Nate Matute shot 0 out of 11 from the field at kaya talang natambakan sila doon. But again, basketball is not just a one-on-one game. Basketball, Coach, is really a 5-man team sport, and that is why the supporting crew is very important for both teams.
Definitely. Kung sinasabi natin na nakasalalay yung pagkakapanalo nila sa ganda ng ilalaro ng kanilang mga main men, nakasalalay naman ang ganda ng laro ng kanilang mga main men sa suporta na makukuha na nila sa kanilang mga kasama. Para sa JRU, Lopez at Villarias. Para sa Letra naman, Cortez at Racal. Somehow, medyo nadi-diffuse ang concentration ng kalaban pagka maganda ang nilalaro ng kanilang support crew. Medyo lumalambot ang depensa para kay Kevin Alas pag maganda ang nilalaro ni Cortez, ni Racal at ng kanilang ibang mga supporters.
Ayan, and another big thing during the game, as we talked about JRU struggles, there was a much hype game versus San Beda. Napakataas ng expectations ng mga tao, San Beda versus JRU. But JRU came out flat. They only scored 15 points in the first half. Yes, you heard me right. It was not the first quarter. 15 points in the first half. Coach, what happened with the diffused Bombers?
Well, that's definitely very interesting to talk about. At that point, they were 6-1. JRU was 6-1. They were on a roll. They were 3-0 at that point. 3-game winning streak. Parang wala na silang gawing mali. And then all of a sudden, they lose one of their worst games. And they play one of their worst games in the past so many years, I would say. They came out flat, hindi sila makascore, they just couldn't do anything right on that day. So it's very interesting how Coach Vergel Meneses is going to pick up his team and how they're going to bounce back off that loss.
All is not lost for both teams, however, because they still have an opportunity to make it to the Final Four. Actually, last year, both teams made the Final Four. At ito nga, almost but not quite. They made it to the Final Four, but they both lost in their respective games.
Well, of course, ang tumalo sa kanila talaga namang napakalalakas. Itong Letran tinalo sila ng yung GRU tinalo ng San Beda at yung Letran naman tinalo nung eventual na nag-champion na San Sebastian. But you know, at this point, kinakailangan lang they should just win as much as they could and they should just do their best to make it to the semifinals. And when you get there, anything can happen.
We are about to start this game. We'll lead you to courtside for the starting lineup.
Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant afternoon from the Phil Flying V Arena here in San Juan for the first half of our Monday blockbuster doubleheader in your season 88 of the NCAA. Let's meet the starters for the JRU Heavy Bombers. At forward number 13, Jordan De La Paz. Power forward number 14, John Lopez. Center number 18, Michael Mabula. Point guard number 17, Alex Almario. And the off guard number 19, Nate Matute. Head coach of the Heavy Bombers, the aerial voyager, Vergel C. Meneses. And now the starting five of this year's host, the Colegio de San Juan de Letran Knights. At power forward number 12, Jonathan Belorio. Forward number 16, Kevin Racal. Center number 5, Jam Cortez. Point guard number 13, Mark Cruz. And the off guard number 6, Kevin Alas. Head coach of the Knights, Louis Alas. The officials for this ball game, Dexter C., Carl Mercedes, and AJ Scooby-Doo. Where are you?
We are back after a 1-week layoff. The NCAA is back as you see the starting lineups for JRU and Letran. Para sa Letran, Cruz, Alas, Cortez, Belorio, Racal. At para sa JRU naman, Almario, Matute, Lopez, Mabulak, at De La Paz.
Ito talagang coming back strong itong NCAA. First game ulit pagkatapos ng bagyo, bagyo pa rin. Letran versus JRU LA.
Very interesting matchups. Actually, mamaya, maganda rin ang ating laban, San Sebastian versus San Beda. 4 heavyweights in the NCAA. What a way to start and come back from that typhoon na na-witness nating lahat. As we see Matute, good sign para sa Heavy Bombers. Matute able to find the ring who has talagang eluded him in the game against San Beda. 0 out of 11 for Nate Matute, coach.
Oo, kaya malaking bagay yun. I'm sure he must have undergone a lot of psychological stress after that terrible game. And it's nice that in the first play, nakascore kagad si Matute at hindi nagustuhan yan ni Coach Louis Alas. You don't want the best player of the other team to score the first basket.
Matute back-to-back baskets and it looks like he is wide awake in this ball game, ready to play. At dyan natin malalaman if a player is really a great player, if he can bounce back from a disappointing performance.
Definitely, back-to-back basket kagad itong si Matute. And I'm sure it's no secret. Two coaches from both camps, parehong defensive coaches, parehong galing sa napakatigas na defensive program. I'm sure, para dito kay Coach Vergel Meneses, stop Kevin Alas. Para kay Louis Alas naman, stop Nate Matute.
Nice dish by Nate Matute kay Lopez. And a 6-0 blast to start off this game para sa Jose Rizal. Oh, and a 5-second violation.
And if you were Coach Vergel Meneses, this is exactly what you want to see after a game like that. Hindi lang sa offensive end. So far, they've made 3 out of 3. Sa defensive end naman, right after every basket, they press. And this time, they got a turnover.
Lopez misses that jumper. Alas running. At magkakaroon ng flagrant foul, I believe, as Kevin Alas was attacking the hoop. At natamaan siya ni De La Paz, but some extra motion there as we see the replay. Nung hinataw siya ni De La Paz, Alas gives him a karate chop.
Medyo uncalled for yon para kay
Kevin
Kevin.
Alas.
Oh, you don't want to do that, especially if you know that you're a leader of your team.
And that was really just a duty foul para dito kay De La Paz, knowing that Kevin Alas already beat him. At we have a timeout on the floor. We will be right back.
Nasa second floor naman yung gym nila.
Oo nga.
Hindi makapunta?
Mic test, mic test.
Diretso na ba sa record?
We are back at the NCAA, and let me turn you over to Mara Aquino for a report on the JRU Heavy Bombers.
Well, dahil sa bagat ng nakaraang linggo, the GRU Heavy Bombers were not able to practice the entire week. Their gym was a little bit moist, so it's not suited for practice. So anong ginawa nila? They just stayed in the dorm. They did their own workout, and of course, they watched the Olympics, especially in basketball game. So sabi nga nila, miss na miss nila maglaro. At they quoted, "We will bomb the nights away, and we will make them feel the heat." Back to you, Coach Minky in LA.
Oh, very interesting statement para dito sa Heavy Bombers. Bomb the nights away. Coach, we all know what happened during the monsoon. You know, a lot of teams, especially based in the Manila area, were not able to practice. How will that affect both teams, knowing that, you know, actually all teams, but specifically for these two teams, na hindi sila nakapag-practice dahil, you know, because of the situation sa kanilang gym, sa kanilang, you know, some players were not able to go to school. Anong laro niyan para dito sa ating parehong koponan?
Well, palaging challenge ang mga coaches yan. Dito sa court, nakikita natin yung kanilang creativity. But more often than not, napaka-importante ng creativity ng coaches pagdating sa mga practices, pagdating sa preparation. And you know, I'm sure both coaches find a way to practice their players. Kung hindi man physically, sigurado psychologically na practice nila yung mga players nila, na prepare nila yung mga players nila. Para sa Jose Rizal, for sure kung hindi sila nag-practice ng isang linggo, sigurado tayo lahat sila may fresh legs. At least that could work as an advantage dahil sigurado mainit na labanan ito.
Almario directing traffic for the Heavy Bombers. They are up here by 5 points. Matute, already 4 points in this game. 7 to shoot. Matute pulls up. Too strong. Offensive rebound para dito kay John Lopez. Drives baseline. Looking for a friend. Mabulak. Offline.
I like that matchup, LA. Grabe ang value netong si Kevin Alas. Hindi lang siya ang best offensive player, siya pa ang dumidepensa dito kay Nate Matute.
Marquee matchup. Nate Matute versus Kevin Alas. Kevin Racal to Cruz. Pulls up from 3. Too much muscle behind that shot. Cruz ulit. Inanap si Velorio. Racal. Good ball movement for the Knights. 13 to shoot. Another turnover. I believe this is the third turnover para sa Letra Knights.
Oo, medyo maalat ang umpisa nitong Letran. And you know, I always say, kung minsan, pag napakaganda ng nilalaro mo, ang players have a tendency to relax. So right away, nakita natin si Coach Louie Alas, sinubukan niyang i-address kagad ito by calling an early timeout. Siguro naramdaman niya na medyo hindi mataas ang level ng energy ng kanyang koponan. Pero so far ay hindi pa rin niya nare-revive.
12 to shoot. Matute gives it to De La Paz. Nate drives. And we called for an offensive foul. Good defensive stance para dito kay Velorio.
Oo, ang ganda nung switch nila dun sa ball screen play on top. And I'm sure that's on top of the scouting report of Coach Louis Alas. How do we stop the ball screen play of JRU with Matute on it?
I'm pretty sure the word talagang Nate Matute is mentioned so many times in the scouting report para dito sa Letran Knights.
Of course, it's not going to be a secret. Oo. Sinasabi sigurado ni Coach Louis Alas, pag napigil natin si Nate Matute, half the job is done already.
And that is exactly what San Beda did, limiting Nate Matute to 4 points in that game. All of them, Coach, free throw shots, walang field goal si Nate Matute during that game as a beautiful turnaround jumper para kay Jam Cortez.
Oh, bakit naman hindi LA? Etong JRU, medyo malakas na koponan, nasa taas ng standing. Pero I'm sure ang mga coaches sinasabi pa rin, tignan natin kung kaya niyong manalo nang wala si Nate Matute. And so, the scouting report will always say, tanggalin natin sa laro si Nate Matute.
Matute gives it to Lopez. Oh, an unintentional pass from Lopez to Mabulak.
Tama ka dyan, but another example of Letran being one step too late. Oo, nagkaroon ng scramble, ang ganda ng recovery nila doon, ang ganda ng rotation, pero walang tao na dumrap down para i-cover yung gitna.
As etong si De La Paz will commit his second personal foul, and his job is to shadow Kevin Alas and get under his skin. Spitfire Cruz gives it to Racal. Cortez! Nice move para dito kay Jam Cortez, showing some dribbling skills. 4 points para kay Jam Cortez.
Oh, nice move by Jam Cortez, but great move by the team before that nice move by Jam Cortez. Ang ganda ng execution nila nung kanilang play, ang ganda ng mga screens, ang ganda ng pasahan, and they got away with a very easy layup.
Chris De La Paz comes up empty. Kevin Alas again. You can almost feel some tension between Alas and De La Paz. 3 beses na sila nagbabanggaan, Coach. At alam mo, those are not incidental contacts. These are intentional hits as we see Jam Cortez with a beautiful move.
Oo, yung play nila ron, talagang na-execute nila to the hilt. Pero pinag-uusapan natin yung init every time meron dumidepensa dito kay Kevin Alas. Bakit naman hindi? Pag sinabi ng coach na depensahan mo yung pinakamagaling na player sa kalaban, and that you should always take that as a big challenge and you should own up to it. Ibang klaseng tiwala ang ipapakita sa iyo ng coach mo pag pinadepensahan sa iyo yung pinakamalakas na player.
Matute, acrobatic shot. Wala. Kevin Alas on the break. Beautiful spin move. Kicks it out to his backcourt partner, Cruz.
Very good leadership by Kevin Alas. Very good move. Very good court vision. Seeing Cruz at the corner of that play.
As Alex Almario hits Cruz right in the kisser.
And talk about...
yan ang importante with Cruz. Talagang pinepeste ka niyan from the backcourt pa lang at talagang tinamaan sa mukha itong si Cruz.
Tama ka dyan, LA. But you should remember, he was the one who took the corner shot. He was the one who made the three-pointer from the corner and he got back on defense right away. Very good role playing by Cruz.
Another heave for Cruz. Not this time, however. Mabulak secures the rebound. Matute gives it to Lopez. Beautiful steal para dito kay Alas. Nobody home. And it looks like the Knights have gotten their bearings back. They are up here 13-9. Magbabalik po kami. We are back here at the NCAA here on Active at we are going to turn it over to Mara Aquino for a report about the Letran Knights.
So kung ang JRU Heavy Bombers naman, they didn't get to practice, good news for the Letran Knights. Hindi nabaha ang kanilang school, so kahit walang pasok, practice pa rin sila ng practice. To be exact, twice a day, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. Sabi nga nila, they are more than prepared for this game. Pump na pump sila. Kami ay kabilyaro. We are ready to sugod. Back to you guys.
Maraming salamat, Mara. We are ready to sugod. Mara Aquino, but coach, 3-game winning streak. Iba talaga tong si Mara mag-report eh. Classic, but 3-game winning streak for the troops of Coach Louis Alas, and they didn't want to stop. They even have 2-day practices.
Oh, but you know, you should remember, bago sila ng 3-game winning streak, they were 1-3. Kaya naman sigurado gusto ni Coach Louis Alas tumuloy ang pagsugod ng kanyang koponan. Kaya ayaw rin niyang bitawan tong momentum na to, and he's leaving no stone unturned para dire-diretso ang pagsugod ng kanyang Letran Knights.
Talking about pagsugod, itong si Nate Matute, sugod ng sugod with 6 points in this first quarter. Alas comes up empty with a triple try. Brandon Porter, pinasok na rin ni Coach Virgel Meneses. Almario from top of the key. Wala. Cruz, nice dish to Kevin Racal.
Ang ganda ng pinapakitang transition offense after long bounces, after turnovers nitong Letran. Palagi nilang tinitake advantage yung early opportunity.
Nine seconds to shoot. Nate Matute against Alas. Matute pulls up from top of the key. At tatawagan ng foul itong si Kevin Alas.
Kitang-kita sa mata ng kanilang coaching staff yung kanilang frustration dun sa foul na pinakita ni Kevin Alas doon. Siguro pagka rookie o pagka sophomore player ang nag-commit ng ganong klase foul, okay lang. But not from a veteran like Kevin Alas. You don't want to foul somebody taking a shot from outside 3-point line.
Nate Matute starting off a lot better in this game, already with 6 markers. Make that 7 for Nate the Great. At talagang he wants to prove that he is great. You know, ayan na, 7 points para kay Nate. He wants to prove that that one game against San Beda was just a fluke. I mean, San Beda came in very well prepared for him, and he should get ready because etong si Nate, alam natin na talagang siya ang una sa scouting report ng lahat ng teams na makakalaban nila.
Tama ka dyan, oo. But you know, ang ginawa ng San Beda ron, simple lang kanilang game plan. Pigilin natin si Nate Matuto. They try to double him on every opportunity. They try to deny him the basketball. But that time around, pati yung kanyang support crew was absent. And it's kagaya ng pinag-usapan natin kanina, kinakailangan matulungan siya ng kanyang support crew. At pinag-usapan natin, sumusugod ng maagat ito si Nate Matute. Pagka nakascore pa ito, sigurado susugurin na ni Coach Louis Alas yung dumidepensa kay Nate Matute because you don't want, as I've said, to see the best player of the other team having his heyday scoring.
Jam Cortez muscling his way into a foul to give charities para kay Jam Cortez. Short on his first attempt. Misses both. Pero double lane violation tayo at ang possession arrow will still be para dito sa Letran Knights.
Ito pinag-uusapan natin. Ang tsansa nila nakasalalay sa best player nila, pero kailangan mapakita nila Cortez, nila Racal na nasusuportahan na nila ng husay ang kanilang main player. As you see, Kevin Alas missing a sorry one.
Jam Cortez misses. Chris Alas with the offensive 3 attempts, but all of them empty para dito sa Letran.
Very good incidental trap by Letran. Nakakita sila ng opportunity to trap, and they were not really trapping, pero nakita nila yung situation. They read the situation perfectly and took advantage of it.
Louis, pinasok na rin ni Coach Louis Alas, gives it to Kevin Racal against Porter. Alas. Cortez working against Mabulak. Good defense for the yellow shirts.
Parang nasaktan nata si Kevin Alas doon. Nagpapasub siya, tinamaan yung tuhod niya. And you don't want to see your best player getting hurt, especially sa tuhod. At this point, kaya naman papalitan siya kagad ni Coach Louie Alas.
At extracurricular activities between the big men, and you gotta like the action inside as we see dito itong si Kevin Alas. Natuhod.
Parang natuhod siya tapos medyo na hyperextend niya ata. But mukha namang okay yon. He gave the thumbs up, so siguro magpapahinga lang.
Mendoza, 18-footer. Gabawan. Turakal gives it to Junjun Alas.
I like the way Letran always tries to look inside before they look to score. Palaging in and out, in and out. And I'm sure, knowing Coach Louie Alas and his philosophy of the game, he's liking what he's seeing. There's not scoring too much yet at this point, but he sees execution, and that's the way to go at this point.
Fourth-year player for Letran, Jun Alas.
Pag nakikita ko to, LA, si Junjun, si Kevin, parang naaalala ko yung edad ko. Kasi nung magkasama kami ni Coach Louie Alas, we were together at one point in the national team ni Coach Louie Alas. These were boys who were like 5, 7 years old. Umiikot-ikot lang sa court yan. But that early, nagiginita mo na talagang mapapasubsob sa basketball yung magkapatid. Kasi that early, napakahilig na nila maglaro. And look at them now, being stars of their own team.
Cruz tatawagan ng holding foul kontra Mendoza. But it's interesting how being exposed to the sport at a young age really influences you to get, especially itong si Coach Louie Alas, 4 na anak na lalaki to. At yung isa is playing in their junior ranks as well. And maybe the other one, the youngest one, will soon be wearing a Letran Knight uniform.
Well, yung junior at that point, baby pa yon. Wala pa. The youngest one wasn't around yet. And these boys didn't just watch the games of their father. They were always in all the games, but they didn't just watch. They were actually on the bench. They were in the huddles. They were in all the practices. And you can just imagine the kind of exposure that these guys had early on in their lives.
Rakal gives it to Cruz, to the cutting Alas. Short on his stab, pero kuha nila ulit. Alas tries again! Kaya lang tatawagan ng 3 seconds. Sayang, napasok pa naman niya yung kanyang second attempt.
Oo nga, parang medyo mabilis ata yung 3 seconds na yun, especially that it came after an offensive rebound. I thought it was a great move by Chris Alas sidestepping in that situation.
Nate Matute. Louie hounding him from the backcourt. Gives it to his point guard. 10 to shoot. Mendoza looking for Nate Matute. He'll pull up from there. Yes!
Kung walang magawang mabuti si Matute nung last game, ngayon naman wala siyang magawang mali. Grabe ang sugod na pinapakita nitong si Nate Matute.
12 points for Nate Matute. Rakal almost loses the basketball. Good hustle from Romnick Mendoza. But that's the danger of getting Nate Matute easy baskets at the start of the game. Coach, yan ang sinasabi mo kanina. Pag nakabuelo yan, tuloy-tuloy na. Louie from the corner. Short on his attempt. Rakal skies for the rebound.
And that's the kind of support that we've been talking about. Yung mga offensive rebounding ni Rakal, yung mga movement without the ball nila Cortez, yan ang magiging key para bumuka yung mga mainstay nila like Kevin Alas.
Turnover. At balik ang bola dito sa Letran. They are trailing by 2 points with 31.2 remaining in our first quarter.
Coach Louie Alas not taking any situation for granted. He took this opportunity to rest Rakal given that they have only 31 seconds left to play in the first quarter.
Lithuania There is a turnover. Again, magbabalik ang bola sa JRU with 23.3 seconds. An opportunity for the last shot for the Heavy Bombers.
So far, wala pang pahinga itong si Nate Matute sa buong first quarter.
Gives it to Portner, trying to back down the smaller Lithuania. Short on his attempt. 3.2 remaining in our first quarter.
Pwede pa makascore dito after a long pass.
Oh, a steal by Porter. It's time to shoot. Matute blocked by Luip, and that will end the first quarter. It was really a Nate Matute show. 12 points. Bouncing back from a dismal game against San Beda. Nate the Great really showing stuff, and things became very physical. And the centerpiece of that physicality is Kevin Alas at itong si Chris De La Paz. A lot of action in this first quarter. As we end, Jose Rizal 19, Letran 17. Again, we are here at the San Juan Arena. This is LA Mumar. Kasama si Coach Binky Favis, Mara Aquino on the sidelines. And meron tayong report galing kay Miss Mara Aquino.
We're here with such excited fans of the Letran Knights. So JV, balita ko sa pala ng class niyo for 1 week. At sabi na tanong ka daw ng tanong kanina, bakit naman?
Grabe, excited na ako mapanood na si Yulet. Lalo na 1 week na ang walang pasok. Grabe, kahit umulan, umaraw, manunod pa rin ang NCAA.
Oh, very nice. So ikaw naman, sabi mo sa akin kayo may gusto ko sabihin kay Kevin Alas.
Kevin Alas, crush kita. Pogi mo na, matalino pa.
At ikaw naman.
Arriba, Letran!
Yeah, and back to you guys.
Maraming salamat, Mara Aquino. A lot of enthusiastic fans for Letran after a 3-game winning streak. Nabitin sila because of that monsoon. But they want to come back as we see Lopez with a good putback.
Yan ang sinasabi ko sa iyo kanina, LA. Yan ang dugong Arriba. At bago pa magsimula itong laro na ito, medyo nararamdaman ko na yan as I saw some of the fanatics, some of the number 1 fans of the Letran Knights. Talagang ibang klase ang alma mater spirit dito sa Letran.
Alas, high-low play, Kigabawan, pinayungan ni na Lopez. Lithuania, tatawagan ng foul itong si Brandon Porter.
Kitang-kita yung pinractice ni Coach Vergel Meneses. Nung last game ng JRU ay nahirapan sila sa ilalim. Talagang yung mga monster ng San Beda, talagang pinahirapan sila sa ilalim.
Monster Coach Monster.
Oo, pero ngayon, nakita mo, ang bilis dumating nung double nila. And then somebody else was ready to even give a triple. I'm sure they worked on their post defense before coming to this game.
2 free throws para dito kay Lithuania. Gets the first one to go.
Pinag-uusapan natin yung dugong Arriba. Alam mo, I had so many experiences of how gigantic the kind of support that Letran gets from their fans, from their alumnus. Alam mo, nung nag-champion kami rito, I was expecting people to say, Coach, congratulations. But you know what? One time, I was walking sa simbahan, malayo ako sa Letran, may lumapit sa akin, Coach, salamat. O bakit salamat? Kasi po, pinaligaya mo kami mga Letranista. And right away, I felt a lot of goosebumps all over my body. Ganyang klase ang alma mater spirit, ganyang klase ang mga alumni netong Letran.
As we see Matute misses a triple attempt, pero tatawagan ng lane violation itong si Gabawan. 2-point lead for Jose Rizal with 8:50 remaining in our second quarter.
And I like the way Coach Louie Alas applauded this player after after being caught stepping on the sideline. Medyo mental lapse yun, nakaapak siya. But then again, Coach Louie Alas, being the motivator that he is, pinalakpakan niya yung effort ng kanyang player para kuhanin yung bola ron sa kanto.
Oh, knockout play para dito kay Villarias na pinasok na rin ni Coach Vergel Meneses. He's one of their very silent assassins. Cruz. Velorio. Tualas. Gabawan working against Carampil, but Carampil secures that rebound.
I like the way Jose Rizal has been defending. Pagkatapos sila makascore, pumipress sila kagad. And after their press, they get back and they're showing a lot of very good defensive moves inside the paint.
Villarias trying to exploit the mismatch against Lithuania. Mintes. Pero you have to admire the yellow shirts really working hard in the glass.
Oo, siguro talagang malaking psychological boost sa kanila yung kanilang pagkakatalo nung last game. Kung minsan, pagka ang player mo, pagka ang team mo, champion caliber, after a loss like that, medyo hindi mo na kailangan i-psychologize, hindi mo na kailangan i-boost ang moral nila. On their own, lilitaw na lang ang kanilang championship spirit. And so far, we've been seeing a lot of that. Ang ganda ng bulusok nila nung umpisa, ang ganda ng defense ang pinapakita nila, ang ganda ng energy na pinapakita nila. And Coach Vergel Meneses is very evidently happy with the way his players have been executing their offense. Ang ganda ng mga screens, ang ganda ng pasahan, and they've been executing very well.
Carampil misses both at nakuha pa rin nila ang offensive rebound. Talking about them crashing the boards.
On the other hand naman, itong Letran ay medyo parang mababa. And you know, that's one thing that sometimes is very difficult. How do you psychologize a team that's up there in the high heavens? Three game winning streak, maganda pinapakita nila. Now, how do you tell your players to continue doing what you've been doing?
Kamasura directing traffic para sa kanyang heavy bombers. 10 to shoot. Kamasura, forced shot. Eto, tumatakbo na ang Letran. Cruz! Cruising his way inside that shaded lane. Chopping the lead of Jose Rizal to 2 points. 5 points para kay Mark Cruz. Nice jumper para dito kay Ronel Carampil.
Ganda ng spot up na jump na pinakita ni Carampil. He just waited on his right spot. Nakadraw ng depensa yung kanyang kasama, kaya libreng-libre siya, and he took that very good jumper.
Alas.
Again, that press, you could already expect that by now. After every made basket, makaka-expect ka ng press galing dito sa Bombers.
Lithuania trying to look for his big guy, Cortez. Doubled. Cruz. Brilliant pass to Kevin Alas. Those two guys have ESP with one another. At etong si Cruz Alas connection really paying dividends for Coach Louie Alas' team. Kamasura slashes. At tatawagan ng holding foul itong si Lithuania. As Kevin Racal comes in for Lithuania.
Ganda nung opportunity attack ni Kamasura doon. Nakakita siya ng opening early on in the offense. Everybody was expecting him to move the ball. Bigla niyang inatake, bigla niyang penetrate yung depensa ng Letran.
Carampil, 8 to shoot. Gives it to Mendoza. Romnick Mendoza, pirouette move. Too strong, however.
Oh, sayang, ang gandang tira nun. Kaya lang, namintis niya yung layup.
Alas kicks it out to his backcourt teammate, Cruz. Racal, 10 seconds remaining in the shot clock. Pero mahuhulihan ng offensive foul itong si Jam Cortez.
Nakikita natin yung frustration sa mata ni Coach Dewey Alas. Ang daming mental lapse na pinakikita ng kanyang mga players. That was again an uncalled for situation. He had a big mismatch and he forced himself through.
We have a timeout on the floor. We'll be right back. Makakapaglaro na kaya sa PBA ang mga paborito niyong amateur rising stars? Piliin ang mga bagong kakampi. 2012 PBA Rookie Draft, August 19, alas 7 ng gabi. Dito lang yan sa PBA on Active. As we see all the beautiful faces watching here in NCAA at yung PBA draft na yan, a lot of those players came here. Dito sa NCAA, the breeding ground of future PBA superstars.
Definitely, and I'm sure maraming mangingibabaw dyan na nanggagaling sa NCAA. Sila Calvin Abueva, for sure, will be very high picks. Sila Ronald Pascual, definitely, and so many other NCAA stars. Tingnan natin yung field goal, 3 out of 9 para sa Heavy Bombers. Halos pareho lang yung percentages, but then again, kitang-kita na mas marami ang itinitira ng Heavy Bombers, and that's because of their defense. As we see, the versatility of Lopez, nasa poste siya, nakakuha siya ng double, and that's the best thing about him. He's a big player, he's a pretty good shooter, but more importantly, he reads the game very well, and he passes very well for a big guy.
Cortez. Tualas. Good anticipation. Mula dito kay Villarias.
Ang ganda ng execution nila ng defensive rotation nila after their doubles.
2 pinpoint passes para dito kay John Lopez. Nagmistulang point guard ang sentro ng JRU, giving the Heavy Bombers a 6-point lead.
Tama ka dyan, pinapakita ni Lopez na pwede nating isimplify ang basketball. Pag libre ako, ititira ako, magaling ako dyan. Pag dinobol nyo ako, pag nakakuha ko ng help, papasa ko sa kakampi kong libre, magaling din ako dyan.
Sometimes basketball is really just that simple. And Rakal elevates, comes up with nothing.
Tama ka dyan, you don't have to force anything. Every time you have a one-on-one situation, if you could do it, you have to go all the way. Otherwise, you draw a help, there'll be an open teammate, and that's why it's very important for a coach to set his players where they'll be open. Everybody should be moving without the ball.
Kevin Alas slashes and converts. At that is where Kevin Alas is very dangerous on the open court, as we see that gorgeous move para dito.
Now, what I love about that is his form, yung katawan niya, nagbago-bago, nagkabali-baliktad na yung katawan niya, pero yung mata niya, yung mukha niya ay walang kabago-bago. And that's being a veteran for you. That's experience for you. That's a lot of poise being shown by the best player of these blue shirts, by the Letran Knights, Kevin Alas.
8 points for Kevin. And again, he is the barometer for this Letran Knight squad. Where he goes, the team usually goes, as he knocks in his 9th point of this game.
Parang through that situation, relax na relax pa rin si Kevin Alas. And speaking of relaxation, nung linggo nanood kami ng sine, kasama ko yung mga ko, nakita ko si Kevin Alas, may mga kasama rin siya nanood ng sine. And you know, if you are these players who are exposed to heavy physical stress every day, heavy psychological stress every day, importante rin na makarelax sila at makarecover.
Kailangan may konting relax din no?
Definitely, importante yun.
Mas focus pagbalik sa practice. Almost a steal there. Rakal with a beautiful crossover. Wala pa rin. Nakakuha niya ang sarili niyang mintis. Alas.
Very good heads up play by
Another
Rakal.
turnover para dito kay Kevin Alas. Nate. Left open as Kevin Alas falls on the floor, giving JRU a 7-point lead. Tuloy pa rin ang full court pressure. A steal, Villarias, acrobatic move, supalpal ni Jam Cortez. Kevin Alas!
Grabe si Kevin Alas, 2 straight turnovers. No problem, babawiin ko yan. And then he just went straight to the basket. Sige na nga, babawiin ko. So score ako. And he scores easy against the press of JRU.
Almario caught pushing etong si Kamasura. 33-28. Lamang po ang Jose Rizal. Alagang Kapatid Foundation Incorporated at yan yung magdo-donate ka para sa ating mga nasalantang ating mga kababayan sa BDO Savings Account 0053104106164, BPI Savings Account 144305332. In-kind donations, food, clothing, blankets, medicine may be sent to the News 5 Action Center doon po sa Novaliches. Maraming salamat po. Please continuously donate at tulungan po natin ang ating mga nasalantang mga kababayan.
Yeah, our hearts and prayers para dun sa mga nasalanta, para sa mga nasawi, para sa mga kamag-anak na mga nasawi, para sa mga nahihirapan dito sa ganitong klaseng situation. And you know, it's always heartwarming that there are so many people who are just willing to help and reach out and give their hand. Maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Kamasura dishes it out to Matute from the corner. Another 3 for Nate Matute.
Na kinakailangan mag-adjust ng letrandong. Kanina pa nakakarami itong si Nate Matute. Yung mga tinitira niya, hindi mo naman masasabing swerte kasi talagang libre. And you don't want to leave the best player open. Not in any situation, in any part of the game. Dapat ang concentration nyo sa kanya. Dapat pabayaan mong talunin ka ng iba nilang mga player. And so far, Nate Matute has been getting so many opportunities.
At Kamasura tatawagan ng offensive foul. Good defensive stance para dito kay Junjun Alas. They are down here by 8 points with 2:27 remaining in our first half.
Ganda nung defensive basic stance na pinakita ni Junjun Alas doon, just covering the whole site, the whole view of the basket of Kamasura.
Alas to Cortez. Nabigay kay Rakal. Full speed. Waits for his teammates as you see the turnovers para sa Letran Knights. Coach, 6 na. At yan ang pinuproblema nila here in the second quarter.
Tama ka dyan, oo. And if you were Coach Berhel Meneses, you should be proud of those numbers. Kasi halos lahat ng mga turnover na yan ay galing dun sa ganda ng kanyang pinapakitang press, dun sa energy na pinapakita ng kanyang mga players defensively.
Napakagandang defensive intensity ang pinapakita dito ng JRU Heavy Bombers. Really blocking the passing lanes para dito sa Letran Knights.
Definitely.
Alas from the parking lot. At don't look now, 14 na ang kinakana nitong si Kevin Alas.
At hindi nagustuhan ng coaching staff ng JRU yung tinira ni Kevin Alas na yon. I'm sure that's number 1 in their scouting report. They know that sideline inbound by Hart and you don't want to leave Kevin Alas open behind that double screen.
We promised you a great marquee matchup between Kevin Alas and Nate Matute, and that is what we're getting here at the first half. Both players already in double figures, both players shooting from downtown and creating for their teammates.
But you can bet your bottom dollar, LA, na pagdating sa dugout, wala sa coach, hindi si Coach Berhel, hindi si Coach Louie Alas na magsasabi, nice game Nate, or nice game game Kevin. Ang sasabihin nila, bakit sasabihin ni Coach Louie Alas, bakit nakakashoot si Nate Matute? Ang sasabihin naman ni Coach Berhel Meneses, paano namang nakakashoot itong si Louie Alas? And it's going to be very interesting to see how both teams are going to adjust to both the star players of the other teams have been scoring.
Not really the wisest of fouls para dito kay Salaveria. At mabibigyan itong si Kevin Alas ng 3 gift shots.
So far, 1-1 na sila. Si Nate Matute kanina nabigyan na rin ng ganong klaseng situation on the other end. Kaya parehas na parehas lang ang sermon ng maririnig ng dalawang koponan galing sa kanilang dalawang coaches defensively.
As he takes his second free throw. But coach, how can you stop scorers like this? I mean, there is a point wherein they just make a way in spite of any defense na pinapakita mo.
Well, first of all, I'm sure off ball screens, gusto mo trapin to mga player na to. Definitely, you always want to have somebody, a live body in front of them every single time. Until then, pagka may tao ka na sa harap na challenge na yung tira at nakashoot pa rin, yun, wala ka na masasabi. But so far, both players have been seeing very good views of the basket. Both guys have been open after rotations, and you don't want that to happen. So I'm sure there are still a lot of things to adjust defensively bago mo sabihin na talagang hindi mo kayang pigilan yung dalawang player.
As Villaria's free throw trickles in, giving the Heavy Bombers a 5-point lead. He extends it to 6. As Macjor Louis gives Kevin Alas a breather, and we'll probably see Kevin Alas in the second half. 6-point lead for the Heavy Bombers. Cortez to Cruz. Gotta like this very, very tiny player but plays with a lot of heart. Itong si Cruz.
Now, ito yung mga situation na pinapractice sigurado ni Coach Louis Alas. I'm sure everything is anchored around Kevin Alas. Now, what do you do without him? And that time around, si Cruz stepped up on the plate and said, di bale, nandito naman ako, Coach, huwag ka mag-alala.
Chops the lead of JRU down to 4. Itong si Mark Cruz. Carampil gives it to Villarias. Villarias pulls the trigger. All net.
I can't help but remember a Villarias who played for UE. I wonder if this Villarias is a relative of the Villarias brothers who were very prominent playing for the UE squad. Siguro mga 1990s yun.
Batang-bata pa tayo ng coach.
Oo. Mas bata ka. Oo. That time may mga nakalaba kami ng mga Villarias. Ang gagaling na shooter din, long range shooter din at that time. And somehow pag tira ni Villarias nung tira na yun parang similar yung kanyang rotation.
Baka pwede natin ipatanong kay Mara kung meron siya mga kamag-anak. Even how he's built. If you look at Villarias, how long his wingspan is, reminds me of I believe Vernie Villarias who used to play din sa PBL pa noon, di ba?
Oo, UE, PBL, dalawang magkapatid yun, si Vernie tsaka si Victor.
Victor, tama. Villarias connects on his first 10 points na itong si Villarias who was only put in the game in the second quarter.
Yan ang sinasabi natin. Para dito kay Nate Matute, ang pag-asa niyang gumanda ang laro niya, gumanda ang laro ng kanyang mga kasama. Para pag nadepensahan siya, may mga kakampi siya who will be willing to step on the plate.
Another turnover for the Knights. Nobody home as Villarias is on fire in the second quarter.
And I like the way Villarias is making us look good by scoring after we started talking about him.
13 points dito para kay Villarias.
13 very silent points by Villarias. And you know what that does? It keeps the other team from playing honest defense. Hindi ngayon sila pwede mag-concentrate kaya Matute lang dahil maraming mga Villarias, mga Lopez na malilibre.
12 seconds remaining in the shot clock. Letran down by 11, but another offensive foul will be called on Jam Cortez. That is his second offensive foul in this game for giving an illegal screen. And as you see, Coach Louis Alas not really happy with it, but he's not complaining because nakita niya talagang gumalaw itong si Jam.
Oh, but look